Captain Rihanna Williams stared out at the unfamiliar star patterns on the bridge view screen of the ISS Endeavour. It had been 3 months since their ill-fated first contact mission with the alien alliance known as the Collective had gone terribly wrong. What was meant to be a peaceful first meeting instead resulted in an unprovoked attack that left half the crew dead and the ship crippled. They had escaped by jumping through a newly discovered wormhole, but emerged light years from recognized space. "Captain, sensors are picking up a planetary system off the port bow," reported her XO, Commander Sulak. "One Class M planet, possibly habitable." Rihanna nodded. "Set a course. Best possible speed. It's time we assessed our situation and made repairs. That planet may offer us resources and a place to regroup." As they approached the unknown world, scans revealed a breathable atmosphere, liquid water, and primitive but inhabitable continents. Rihanna gathered her senior staff in the conference room. "This world appears terraformed to support human life. Someone wanted settlers here," said Dr. Xiao, the chief scientist. "But the question is, who and why?" "Could be remnants of some long-lost human colony," suggested Commander Sulak. "Or maybe this was meant as a backup world in case of disaster on their home world." "Either way, we need supplies and repairs," said Rihanna. "I'm authorizing an away mission to make friendly first contact and assess if the natives can aid us. Sulak, coordinate with security and have shuttles prepped for a landing party." The Endeavour sent down 2 shuttles that touched down in a forested region. Lieutenant Sajid led a team that fanned out, energies drawn, ready for anything, but the forest was eerily quiet and still. "I've got movement 50 meters ahead," called out crewman Hasim over the comm. Slowly, humanoid figures emerged from the tree line. They were shorter than expected, with pale skin and straw-colored hair. Their clothes were primitive skins and furs, but they carried familiar projectile weapons. Sajid approached with open hands. "We come in peace. I am Lieutenant Sajid of the Starship Endeavour. We mean you no harm." The strangers conferred in hushed, guttural tones before one stepped forward. "I am Sven, elder of this village. You are not the ones who came before." Sajid shook his head. "No. We were attacked by others and ended up here by accident. May we speak with your people?" Sven considered, then nodded slowly. "You may come, but know that the others were not so kind when first they found us." He led them into the village, a small cluster of hide tents amid a clearing. Suspicious eyes watched from behind as Sajid explained their ship's origins and plight. "Tell me of the others," Sajid asked Sven. The elder's face darkened. "Many moons passed. Ships like yours but bigger descended from the sky. Their skin was pale as bone, hair red as blood. They spoke a tongue we didn't know. At first they traded technology for our native goods, food, furs, tools. But soon they demanded more, tribute of our best hunters and farmers to work in their mines on the Great Mountain." Sven's fist clenched as he spoke, old wounds still raw and festering. "When we refused further servitude, they burned our fields and forests as punishment, killed all who resisted until we had no choice but submit or starve. So we became thralls to the bone-pale skinned beings from the stars." Sajid's expression turned grave as the stark reality of their situation set in. A new indigenous species suffering under colonial subjugation and slavery. No wonder they distrusted outsiders now. He spoke carefully. "These tyrants you describe sound like a malicious power we have also clashed with, though from a different origin. But know that my people hail from a world called Terra, and seek only aid to repair our ship so we may depart in peace." Sven considered this quietly. After a long moment, he nodded. "While here, you will find sanctuary, and we will share what resources we have spared from tribute to help fix your vessel." But know that the mountain mines still hold our kin in bondage. Without freedom for my people, there can be no true peace." Sajid smiled tightly. "Then it seems fate has delivered us both opportunity and obligation. With your help and knowledge of this land, perhaps together we wanderers from Terra can give these oppressors hell." Over the coming days, the villagers helped Endeavor crews harvest metals and ores, fell timbers, and stockpile goods to aid repairs. Meanwhile, Sajid's security teams conducted strategic reconnaissance of the mining colony high in the icy peaks. It was a well-fortified industrial complex that enslaved over 200 of Sven's people in horrific conditions. Communications were analyzed to learn the aliens' limited vocabulary and customs. Plans were formed. When the time came, a distraction was staged in the village, a dramatic crop fire to draw the overseers away. With the mountain undermanned, Endeavor Marines attacked swiftly under cover of an ion storm. Guided by freed prisoners, they overwhelmed sentry posts and secured control rooms with no mercy given. As alarms blared, the pale skins emerged with weapons firing, but they were no match for disciplined Terran soldiers. Within an hour, the entire facility had been liberated with minimal casualties on either side. Sven and his people emerged from hiding, overjoyed to be reunited with loved ones. The final overseers were rounded up in disgrace, prepared for transport. Victory had been achieved through cooperation and courage in the face of tyranny. Back on the Endeavor, repairs were nearly complete when alarms flashed. A fleet of armored warships dropping out of FTL, no doubt drawn by the disturbance. Rihanna rallied her crews for a final stand, refusing to abandon the planet they had grown allied to. But as the ships opened fire, their weapons were suddenly paralyzed by an unknown damping field. From above, atmospheric vessels descended, sleek, graceful craft unlike any design in known space. Figures emerged with pale blue skin and long, flowing robes, a species the stranded Terrans had never seen before. An imposing figure introduced himself as Aton, emissary of the Intergalactic Coalition. "We have long monitored these rogue colonists and their slave trade. You have done well freeing this world, wanderers. Know that this system now falls under our protection, and these slaver scum will trouble none again." Their reprieve was both unexpected and profound. Two stranded races, one avian, the other human, found common cause and salvation through courage, compassion, and solidarity in a time of trial. Though still lost in the vastness of space, the wanderers from Terra took heart knowing that even in the darkness, there are those who watch and stand ready to bring the light. Their ordeal had shown them both the kindness and resilience of humanity, giving them hope to journey on toward home. With the slave raiders defeated, the villages liberated and Endeavor repaired, Captain Rihanna knew they could not linger. But leaving held its own dangers if more of the rogues remained lurking in dark space. For Sven's people, freed from bondage yet homeless, starting fresh elsewhere posed its own hardships. A council was called aboard the ship to resolve their fates. Around the conference table sat Rihanna, Commander Sulok, Dr. Xiao, and Lieutenant Sajid representing the Terrans. Speaking for their avian allies were Sven the Elder and Tyan, a young but resolute tribal leader who had risen in the uprising. The atmosphere was somber yet hopeful as old wounds waited to begin healing. Sven spoke first. "My people owe you a debt that can never be repaid, wanderers of Terra. You risked all to end the torment we suffered under the Pale Ones. Yet now, a new question arises. What road lays ahead?" His wise eyes searched theirs, seeing the same dilemma reflected. Rihanna nodded. "A just concern. My crew and I wish nothing more than to continue our voyage home, but leaving you undefended goes against all we fought for. Perhaps another way exists that benefits us both." Tayan leaned forward, feathers ruffling in thought. In our struggle, I observed your ship in ways, technology far surpassing anything we possess. With it, whole new futures could open for our folk. What say you to an alliance, your skills and protection in exchange to share this world as a resupply outpost on your journey? The proposal met around the table with contemplation, not rejection. Dr. Xiao spoke encouragingly. An fortuitous union could be forged. Your people given means to thrive while we replenish. Mutual advancement through cooperation, not competition. Sulak nodded slowly. A sentinel stationed in orbit also guards against any return of the oppressors. With trust built between our races, a lasting partnership may evolve. Seeing openness, Tyan pressed the matter. Then let it be so. May our flags fly together in friendship. He extended a taloned hand which Rihanna took firmly in accord. A new multicultural coalition had formed in the darkness between stars, carrying the torch of freedom's light. In following days, shuttles ferried down colonists and supplies to establish villages by the forest clearings. Sajid organized security teams to patrol the frontiers and train a militia. Engineers assisted building shelters adapted for avian anatomy. Teachers and medics shared knowledge to uplift living standards from the ashes of subjugation. For Rihanna, it was gratifying to see communities rise so swiftly, old animosity giving way to hopes of a freer future. Yet guiding such a fledgling interstellar nation posed challenges of its own. She watched Sulak conferring with Tyan and Sven on border agreements, resource rights, even debates on governance structures, the makings of a multi-planetary commonwealth, if handled deftly. Some saw her observations and concerns. Sajid approached one evening as she stood alone on the bridge, mind drifting with the stars. You bear a heavy watch, Captain, guiding so many diverse peoples to growth and concord. She grinned wearily. A learning experience for us all, Lieutenant. To forge lasting partnerships demands compromising ego for mutual prosperity. My hope is our shared struggle against tyranny strengthen bonds enough to weather disagreements sure to arise. At that, Dr. Xiao entered, features alight. Captain, you must see. Spectroscopic analysis reveals minerals in the outer ring could revolutionize sublight propulsion if refined. With further surveys and your engineer's aid, entirely new trade avenues may unfold. Rihanna smiled, heartened by such possibilities. Then, let surveys continue apace, Doctor. The future remains unwritten, and in cooperation lies our strongest chance to write it well for all our people. As the colony grew in strength and friendship under Rihanna's visionary leadership, another matter soon demanded her attention. Communication from the Intergalactic Coalition arrived, requesting an audience. She met Emissary Atten and his naval escort in the conference chamber. The avian diplomat's crest flared curiously. Your deeds have not gone unnoticed, Captain. Freeing an enslaved world is no small feat, especially for a stranded ship so far off known charts. My cohort admires such principled defiance of tyranny. Might I inquire your purpose in these sectors? Rihanna recounted their first contact ambush by the collective and subsequent arrival through the wormhole, now stranded in uncharted space. Atten listened intently, clicking thoughtfully. A grave misfortune indeed. Know that the collective expands its dominion through aggression and subjugation as you witnessed. We seek to check such expansion wherever it emerges. Your nascent colony here could thrive as an outpost supporting that goal. He produced a data crystal. Within, surveys revealing strategically vital resources and jump points along the frontier. With naval backing and access to our trade lanes, prosperity for your peoples is assured. An alliance against the growing darkness might also guide your vessel back to shores familiar. The offer was tempting, a potential shortcut home, yet accompanying obligations demanded reflection. As evening fell, Rihanna held private council with her command staff on the forested planet's surface. A campfire crackled as they weighed the proposal and its wider implications. The meeting under starry skies continued long into the night. Around the campfire, Rihanna's crew debated the coalition's proposal, its promise of aid alongside potential obligations. As a rising dawn lit the treetops, a decision had formed. Rihanna spoke first. An alliance could vastly strengthen our colony and avenge past wrongs, yet joining another power also risks entanglements not our own. I say we maintain friendship but independence, sharing intel mutually while reserving right to choose our own course. Commander Sulak nodded. Well reasoned, Captain. Self-determination preserves freedoms justly won. With Atten's charts and no overt barriers to trade, benefit arises without binding strings. Lieutenant Sajid added, continued patrols also secure the frontiers from any lingering slavers. Strength comes from unity, not sole reliance on others. But Dr. Xiao cautioned prudence. Caution must attend power and privilege, Captain. While the coalition's reach could fortify our fledgling nation, unchecked strength may one day eclipse good intentions. Diplomacy demands vigilance as faith. Rihanna considered their counsel well. Emerging dawnlight bathed the gathering in renewal as she declared her commitment to their shared vision. This colony shall thrive through cooperation, not dominance. We'll maintain open channels and mutual defense, but steer our own course guided by conscience, not outside coercion. Our fight is for freedom, not force of others' will. As one, they confirmed their resolution to build prosperity through good faith, not geopolitical calculus. A new day's promise had taken wing. That night, the colony slumbered peacefully under Sigma shift security sweeps. But unknown in shadowed skies, enemies still lurked intent on crushing this infant spark of defiance. A lone armed scout slipped through a sensor glitch, hijacking the defense grid with an electromagnetic pulse. Turret emplacements fell dark as alarms blared. Militia forces scrambled in response, but the saboteur had already vanished from detection. Then deep in the forests, night patrols came under attack. Ferocious winged beasts descended from above with armored riders, raining disruptor bolts into the panicked militia. Through night vision, Sajid spotted telltale red hair amid the assailants, the same slaver raiders who had once enslaved Sven's people. They must be stopped before the villages, he ordered tersely into his comm. Scrambling into the tree line, his squad aimed disabling shots to scatter the beasts, buying time for reinforcements. But the raiders were better equipped, funneling Sajid's men into kill zones of withering fire. As casualties mounted, Sajid glimpsed salvation, a glint of alloy through the tree line where Endeavor engineers worked through the night shift. Fall back to the maintenance yards, he urged hoarsely into his comm, as disruptor blasts crackled closer. Dashing through foliage under barrage, his squad regrouped amid the shuttle bays, barricading the entry with cargo bins. A full-scale firefight now erupted across the colony as Ravager forces closed in from the shadows. Militia rallied civilians into bunkers while Terrans suited up in powered exoskeletons to reinforce the front lines. Rihanna scrambled her most able crew into gunships and dropships, preparing a counterattack under cover of sunrise. But the raiders pressed their vicious advantage, burning structures to cut off escape. "We're taking heavy losses, Captain," Commander Sulak reported grimly over the din of battle. "Without air support, they'll overwhelm the outskirts within hours." But Rihanna had already formulated a desperate gambit. Divert all power to the deflector shields and sublight engines. We'll draw them up and away from the villages at all costs. Hold out just a bit longer. Dawn is coming. Deep in the forests, Lieutenant Sajid and his men fought with disciplined ferocity amid the ruins of the maintenance yard, casualties mounting on both sides. Ammunition ran perilously low as the raiders closed in for the kill. But far above, the Endeavor suddenly roared to life, engines flaring blindingly bright against the paling stars. Vectoring down at maximum burn, Rihanna aligned her course precisely and cut thrusters, allowing inertia to glide the great ship directly into the Frey atop the treetops. An ear-splitting groan echoed as lower hull tore through foliage and wounded attackers alike. Scrambling clear, Sajid glimpsed salvation as the behemoth ship soared just meters overhead, weapons blazing to drive off remaining wings. Beams lanced across the dark sky, obliterating Ravager war beasts and disabling pursuit gunships. As dawn broke across the horizon, not a single slaver craft remained spaceworthy. The enemy ambush had been utterly crushed. In the aftermath of battle, a somber quiet fell upon the ravaged colony. Survivors emerged from bunkers to a scene of charred ruin stretching to the horizon. Smoke hung heavy in the still air, carrying the cries of the wounded and lament of lost loved ones on the breeze. Captain Rihanna picked through the wreckage of what was once the maintenance yard, now a tangled ruin of molten alloys and charred corpses. Nearby, Lieutenant Sajid sat slumped against the blackened husk of a shuttle, exhaustion and grief etched deeply onto his grime-stained face. She knelt gently beside him. The living owe a debt to the fallen who bought their lives with their own. Be at peace, Lieutenant. Yours was a victory dearly won. Sajid gazed into the distance, eyes dim. Yet at what cost, Captain? So many brave souls sacrificed to these butchers' blade. A tear escaped his haunted expression as he gestured to fallen comrades laid out among the dead raiders. Rihanna placed a hand upon his shoulder in shared sorrow. Hatred and vengeance solve nothing. We must honor the loss by rebuilding stronger than before. Their spirit lives on in all who yet draw breath to shape a freer future. Her words stirred his soul, and Sajid found solace in purpose regained. Nearby shuttles arrived bearing medical crews and engineers to retrieve the dead with dignity. A hand scanner swept the ruins, detecting life yet trapped within. "Over here," called Dr. Xiao as crews rushed to unbury a young tribal warrior pinned beneath debris. Her arm was mangled, yet she breathed still, eyes fluttering at the dawn sky. "You're safe now," soothed Xiao, as Sulak's engineers staunched the wound. A stretcher borne her gently away, even as weaker life signs flickered across the ruins. Hope and heartache wrestled as survivors picked through the ashes of all they had built. Night fell once more as cleanup efforts continued through fatigue, illuminated only by glow lamps and campfires. Taiyan coordinated teams recovering what salvage remained from the devastated communities. Grief gave way to resolve as stockpiles grew and damage reports came in from outlying settlements. Their colony was not yet beaten. The will to rebuild remained strong. In a forest-clearing emergency shelters now housed hundreds of displaced tribesfolk. Hot meals and cots were distributed by volunteer medics and engineers working through exhaustion. A single light yet burned in the colony's central command post deep in the infrared. Inside, Rihanna reviewed tactical analyses with her staff late into the night shift, parsing each engagement for any missed signs of intrusion. Sulak pointed out a concerning trend. "Captain, these raiders seem better armed than scavengers. Patterns resemble military tactics, not opportunistic raids." She nodded grimly. "You suspect outside backing? Perhaps the slavers had allies we never saw until now." At that moment, an urgent comm burst in. A tribal patrol reporting strange energy readings at the crash site of the first ambush. Months passed when they arrived. To investigate covertly risked confronting whatever had stirred from hiding after laying dormant so long. Rihanna rose swiftly. "Suit up, we leave at once." Her shuttle touched down amid dark foliage under infrared camouflage mode. Swiftly, they picked through the moonlit forest until sensors detected anomalies up ahead. Peering through night vision, a chill ran down their spines at the sight revealed. Crawling amid the shattered hulls and hanging vines sprawled a new life form, the like of which they had never seen. Pale, translucent flesh stretched over gangly appendages digging through wreckage, guided by some alien purpose. As it sensed their approach, an unnatural sound pierced the dark, a shriek that froze the marrow and raised hair on skin. It wheeled to face them, eyeless visage twisting in a nightmare maw filled with serrated fangs. Before them lurked something prey and predator alike, driven mad by otherworldly instincts beyond mortal comprehension. Weapon safeties disengaged with practiced precision, even as every instinct screamed for flight. Out here in the darkness, evil itself had emerged to test their fragile hold upon hope's frail light. Rihanna and her team stood frozen, analyzing every grotesque detail of the creature before them. Its malformed visage oozed deformity yet pulsed with a malevolent vitality that stirred primal terror. But humans did not survive by fear alone. "Disable perimeter limbs before it attacks," Rihanna commanded calmly. Disruptor shots lanced into spindly joints, toppling the monster's bulk to the forest floor. It writhed in agony, twisting jaws spewing an otherworldly shriek. Darting in, Dr. Xiao analyzed anomalous energy signatures emanating from network nodes amid its flesh, analyzing and hypothesizing at dizzying speed. "Captain, this thing doesn't just live. It's a node in some kind of biological data stream." Through magnified lenses, they observed ethereal tendrils penetrating the creature's pseudo-body, merging it with the wreckage in a matrix of raw computation beyond reason. Some foul symbiosis had gestated here since that long-ago crash, now awakened by tragedy to spread terror like an infection. A call came through. Militia patrols had engaged more of the aberrations, appearing through forest and field without warning or reason. Rihanna's heart sank as implications set in. "They're not just scavenging, Doc. This entire system is being reprogrammed as some kind of military construct." Sensing humanity's infection, the Gestalt had emerged from the darkness. Now, more questions loomed over slim hope of answers. Would slaughtering its errant puppets win battles but lose the war? Or was understanding the only path to true victory over this creeping madness? She gazed into the forest depths, mind racing. "We finish this tonight. Xiao, learn what you can, but don't linger. We strike at the source. Sulok, gather your team. The coordinates from that first crash may lead us to the hive mind's heart." Deep into the night, they tracked the corruption's alien song, guided by the monster's fading telemetric murmurs. Through foliage and valley, past settlements laying silent in a strange, imposed paralysis, they followed an eldritch pulse straight to origin of this infection. Emerging into a clearing, sensors screamed overload warnings. Before them sprawled a wound in space itself, raw energies twisting reality into madness. At the umbilicus where strange matter first fused with their reality lay a nightmarish gestalt, mesh of biomechanical tendrils interfacing a vast cognition beyond mortal ken. Its grotesque majesty cowed even the bravest souls to awe and horror. Yet Rihanna Williams was no ordinary captain. She faced the abyss with flinty defiance, eyes aglow with purpose untamed. "We will not submit to this madness. Destroy the Nexus now." Focusing disruptor beams, the team assaulted the gelatinous entity anchoring the psychic invasion. Its unearthly shrieks shook trees as melting biomass sloughed away. Within, some alien cognition assessed defeat and changed strategy. The infection began retracting through cascading distortions, reality untangling as the Gestalt withdrew its profane hold. In forests and fields, monsters collapsed lifeless as the invasion subsided, systems rebooting to autonomy. People emerged from stasis, remembering only a strange dream dissolving at dawn. On the Endeavor, Dr. Xiao burst onto the bridge, eyes alight. "Captain, analysis from the wreckage. The Gestalt came through the same wormhole that stranded us." Rihanna smiled, heartened by the twist. So, its invasion was opportunism, not design. With its foothold severed, it no longer poses an existential threat. She turned to the view screen, watching a new day rise over their liberated world. This colony was built on defiance of tyranny in all its forms. Today we showed that, united, the fire within humanity can overcome even the most alien of evils. Their ordeal had forged deeper bonds and wisdom tested in darkness. Though the road ahead remained long, new alliances had taken root where once only ashes lay. Under Captain Rihanna Williams' steady hand, the last wanderers of Terra would find their way home in time, having lit hope's flame against the longest of nights. From disaster, a new dawn, and in freedom's defense, humanity's mettle shone brightest of all.